Welcome to Books in 10. Remember, we're raffling an iPhone when we reach 10,000 subscribers. Like, subscribe, and journey with us into this fantastic book. Share with your friends, and let's create the biggest book community on YouTube together.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's a link to purchase the book in the pinned comments. Enjoy!
Awesome.
We are accepting book requests to create content within. Suggest the best titles in the comments.
Sounds good.
Now let's go. Today we're diving deep into Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics.
All right.
This book, even though it was written over 2,000 years ago, is still incredibly relevant. It grapples with some of life's biggest questions. What leads to true happiness? How do we develop strong character? And what does it mean to live a good life?
Yeah.
It's like Aristotle is offering us a roadmap to navigate the complexities of human existence.
Yeah. And what's fascinating is that Aristotle doesn't just offer abstract theories. He provides practical insights that we can apply to our lives even today. He starts by asking a fundamental question. What is the ultimate goal that we all strive for?
He says it's happiness, right?
Yeah.
But I have a feeling he's not talking about the kind of fleeting happiness we get from, say, winning the lottery or indulging in a delicious dessert.
You're exactly right.
Okay.
Aristotle distinguishes between happiness as a fleeting emotion and happiness as a state of being, what he calls eudaimonia.
Eudaimonia.
It's about living a fulfilling and meaningful life aligned with our highest potential.
So it's not about chasing momentary pleasures, but about cultivating a life that is truly fulfilling in a deeper sense.
Precisely. And to understand how to achieve this eudaimonia, Aristotle examines 3 common paths that people pursue in their search for happiness.
Okay, let's break down these paths. What are they, and what are their strengths and weaknesses?
The first path is the life of pleasure. It's the most straightforward, seeking happiness through indulging in sensory pleasures and avoiding pain. It's tempting, right? Who doesn't enjoy good food, good company, and beautiful experiences?
It sounds pretty appealing, honestly, but I'm guessing Aristotle sees some limitations with this approach.
He does.
Yeah?
While he doesn't completely dismiss pleasure, he argues that a life solely focused on it is ultimately superficial and fleeting. Think about it. If all we do is chase pleasure, we become enslaved to our desires and external circumstances. True happiness, according to Aristotle, can't be found in external things. It must come from within.
So what's the next path?
The second path is the political life. This is about seeking happiness through achieving honor, recognition, and power within society. It's about making a name for yourself, contributing to the community, and leaving a legacy behind.
This sounds a bit more substantial than just indulging in pleasures.
Wow.
What does Aristotle say about this path?
He acknowledges that the political life has its merits. It appeals to our desire for purpose, contribution, and making a difference in the world. But he also points out its potential pitfalls.
Like what? I'm all ears.
Well, for one, the pursuit of honor and recognition is often dependent on the opinions of others, which can be fickle and unreliable.
Yeah.
What happens when the accolades fade or when your reputation takes a hit? Does your happiness crumble along with it?
Right.
Plus, Aristotle argues that even if you achieve great political success, it doesn't guarantee genuine happiness. It might even lead to corruption or a relentless pursuit of power at the expense of personal fulfillment.
That's a good point. So if a life of pure pleasure is too shallow and a life of politics too dependent on external validation, what's the third path?
The third path is the contemplative life. This one's all about pursuing knowledge, wisdom, and understanding for their own sake. It's about engaging in intellectual pursuits, exploring the world around us, and contemplating life's big questions.
This sounds like the path of philosophers and academics. Is Aristotle suggesting we all need to become scholars to be truly happy?
Not necessarily. He's emphasizing the importance of cultivating our intellectual curiosity and engaging in activities that stimulate our minds and nourish our souls. This could involve anything from reading and writing to learning a new skill, exploring nature, or engaging in thoughtful conversations. It's about using our reason, our unique human capacity, to understand the world and ourselves better. It's about recognizing that we're not just biological beings driven by instincts and desires, but also rational beings capable of deep thought and reflection.
Okay, so Aristotle lays out these 3 paths. But does he actually declare a winner?
Right?
Which one does he think leads to the most genuine and lasting happiness?
It's interesting because he doesn't explicitly say this is the one true path.
Okay.
He acknowledges the appeal of each, but strongly suggests that the contemplative life is the most fulfilling, leading to a deeper and more enduring sense of happiness.
So he's basically saying, hey, if you want true happiness, get your thinking caps on and start exploring the world of ideas.
In essence,
Yeah.
yes. He believes that by using our reason to contemplate the world and pursue knowledge, we tap into our highest potential and experience a profound sense of fulfillment.
Wait, hold on a second. Doesn't that sound a little elitist?
Hmm.
Can everyone realistically devote themselves to a life of contemplation? I mean, most of us have jobs, families, and a whole lot of real-world responsibilities to juggle.
That's a great point, and it raises an important question. Does Aristotle's vision of the good life only apply to a privileged few?
Yeah.
Well, it's important to remember that he's not suggesting we all become cloistered scholars or abandon our daily lives.
Right.
It's more about incorporating elements of contemplation into our everyday routines.
So it's about making time for those activities that feed our minds and souls, even amidst the hustle and bustle of modern life.
Exactly. It could be as simple as carving out some quiet time for reading,
Hmm?
engaging in meaningful conversations with loved ones, or taking a walk in nature and reflecting on what you observe.
Right.
The key is to prioritize those activities that allow you to exercise your reason and engage in deeper thinking.
That makes a lot more sense. It's about integrating contemplation into the fabric of our lives, not necessarily making it the sole focus.
Precisely. And this brings us to another key concept in Aristotle's ethics, the idea of virtue.
Okay, let's dive into virtue. What's Aristotle's take on it?
Aristotle believed that cultivating virtue is essential for achieving eudaimonia.
Okay.
He saw virtue as a disposition to act in the right way at the right time, in the right manner.
So it's not just about knowing what's right, but also about having the character and habits to actually do what's right.
Yes, it's about aligning our actions with our values and striving for excellence in all areas of life. And here's where his famous golden mean comes in.
Ah, yes, the golden mean.
Mhm.
It sounds familiar, but can you refresh my memory on what it's all about?
The golden mean is Aristotle's idea that each virtue is a midpoint between two extremes. For
Okay.
example, courage is the mean between cowardice and recklessness.
Gotcha.
Generosity lies between stinginess and extravagance. It's about finding that sweet spot, that balanced expression of each virtue.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this connects to the idea of developing a strong character. It's not about being perfect or adhering to rigid rules, but about finding that balance in all aspects of our lives.
Exactly. And this balance isn't always easy to find. It requires careful consideration, reflection, and a willingness to course correct as we learn and grow.
So how do we even know what the right mean is in a given situation? Does Aristotle give us a cheat sheet or something?
He doesn't give us a specific set of rules or a formula,
Hmm.
but he does provide a framework for making those judgments. He emphasizes the role of reason and practical wisdom, what he calls phronesis.
Phronesis sounds intriguing. Break that down for me. What exactly does it mean?
Phronesis is often translated as practical wisdom or prudence.
Yep.
It's the ability to discern the right course of action in a particular situation. It's about understanding the context, weighing the options, and making judgments based on experience, reason, and a deep understanding of human nature.
So it's not just about book smarts. It's about having that real-world wisdom to navigate the complexities of life and make sound ethical decisions.
Exactly. And Aristotle believed that we develop phronesis through experience reflection and observing virtuous role models.
So it's like we're apprentices in the art of living well, learning from those who have mastered the craft of virtue.
I like that analogy. And it highlights the importance of surrounding ourselves with good influences, people who embody the virtues we aspire to cultivate.
This is making me think about all the times I've made decisions based on impulse or emotion rather than careful consideration. Is Aristotle saying we should completely suppress our feelings and become these perfectly rational beings?
He's not suggesting we become emotionless robots. He recognized the importance of emotions,
Okay.
but he believed that they should be guided by reason. It's about finding that harmony between our head and our heart, so to speak.
So it's not about denying our emotions, but about learning to manage them effectively and use them as a source of information rather than letting them dictate our actions.
Exactly. Think of it like emotions are like wild horses. If we let them run free, they can lead us astray.
Okay.
But if we learn to harness their power, they can take us to incredible places.
That's such a powerful image. It really captures the essence of what Aristotle is saying.
And this idea of managing our emotions brings us to another important concept in Aristotle's ethics, the idea of habit.
Habits. How do they fit into the picture?
Aristotle believed that we develop virtue through practice and habit. He famously said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit."
Hmm.
He believed that by repeatedly acting in virtuous ways, we can cultivate those virtues as part of our
So
character.
it's like building a muscle. The more we practice virtue, the stronger it becomes.
That's a great analogy. It's about creating those neural pathways, those habits of thought and action that lead us towards a virtuous life. And it's a lifelong process. There will be setbacks and challenges along the way,
Right.
but the key is to keep practicing and keep striving for excellence.
This is making me think about all the little choices we make every day. Are those seemingly insignificant decisions actually shaping our character in profound ways?
Aristotle would say absolutely yes. Every choice we make, no matter how small, contributes to the person we are becoming.
Wow.
He believed that we are constantly shaping our character, either for better or for worse, through our actions and habits.
Wow. That's a lot of responsibility to bear.
Yeah.
But it's also empowering to know that we have the agency to shape our own destinies, even if it's one small choice at a time.
And this brings us to another crucial aspect of Aristotle's ethics, the concept of justice. He dedicates a significant portion of Nicomachean Ethics to exploring this idea.
Okay, let's talk justice. How does Aristotle define it, and what role does it play in his vision of the good life?
Well, he starts by recognizing that justice is multifaceted. He differentiates between universal justice, basically being a good person overall, and particular justice, which is more about fairness in specific interactions.
So universal justice is like the foundation, the overarching ethical framework, and then particular justice is how that plays out in our day-to-day dealings with others.
Precisely. It's like having the blueprint for a just society, and then particular justice is about ensuring that the building is constructed according to those principles.
Okay, I'm following so far.
Yeah.
But how does he break down this particular justice? What are the building blocks, so to speak?
Aristotle identifies two main types, distributive justice and rectificatory justice.
Okay.
Distributive justice is all about fairness and how resources, honors, and opportunities are allocated within a society.
So it's about making sure that everyone gets a fair share, that the pie is divided equitably.
Exactly. It's about creating a system where people receive what they deserve based on their contributions, merits, and needs. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean everyone gets an equal slice. Aristotle believed that those who contribute more or have greater needs should receive a larger share.
That makes sense. It's about proportionality, not just strict equality. What about rectificatory justice? What's that all about?
Rectificatory justice comes into play when someone has been wronged or when an injustice has occurred.
Okay.
It's about righting the scales, restoring balance, and ensuring that the victim receives appropriate compensation or retribution.
So if distributive justice is about preventing harm by establishing a fair system, rectificatory justice is about addressing harm that's already been done.
Exactly. It's about correcting wrongs, holding wrongdoers accountable, and restoring a sense of fairness and balance. Think of it like a legal system that punishes criminals and provides restitution to victims.
This is making me think about our modern legal system. Does Aristotle's concept of justice align with our contemporary ideas of law and order?
There are definitely connections, but it's important to remember that Aristotle was writing in a very different historical and social context. His ideas were deeply intertwined with his understanding of virtue and the good life. He believed that a truly just society is one that promotes the flourishing of all its citizens by enabling them to develop their virtues and live fulfilling lives.
So it's not just about punishing wrongdoers or enforcing laws, it's about creating a social framework that fosters virtue and well-being for everyone.
Precisely. He saw justice as an essential ingredient for a thriving society. For Aristotle, a just society wasn't just about enforcing rules, but about nurturing the conditions that allow individuals to reach their full potential and live in harmony with one another.
This is giving me a lot to ponder. It's like he's saying that justice isn't just a set of external laws or procedures, but a fundamental principle that should be woven into the fabric of our individual lives and our collective society.
That's a great way to put it. It's about cultivating a sense of fairness, balance, and respect for others in all our interactions. It's about striving to create a world where everyone has the opportunity to flourish and live a good life.
Wow, we've covered so much ground today. Happiness, virtue, phronesis, justice, Aristotle has given us a lot to think about. What a mind-blowing journey through Nicomachean Ethics.
And we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much depth and richness in this work. I encourage everyone to dive in and explore it for themselves.
Absolutely. This book is definitely going on my reread list. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Aristotle reminds us that living a good life is a continuous process of self-cultivation, striving for excellence, and engaging in thoughtful reflection. It's about finding that balance between our desires and our reason, between our individual pursuits and our responsibilities to others.
Beautifully said. A huge thank you to our amazing listeners for joining us on this deep dive into the brilliant mind of Aristotle. Don't forget to check out the link to the book in the pinned comments. And remember, we're raffling off an iPhone when we hit 10,000 subscribers, so spread the word and help us get there. Until next time, happy reading.